As a manager, dealing with that one difficult colleague will always take more time than you think it should. So I've got something you can try to help you get through, keep your sanity, and maybe even get that tricky member of staff onto a better path. If you're new here, hi, I'm Ben. I've been leading teams and mentoring managers for about 15 years, and I love sharing the best things I've learned here and at benkosh.com. And one of those things I've learned is that every team sits on a bell curve. You have brilliant colleagues at one end. You have a group in the middle that are just fine and get stuff done just fine. And then at the other end, you've got a really tricky small group that are going to be the 20% of your colleagues that take up 80% of your time. And because I've had those days where you see a meeting with such and such in your diary and you're anxious in the morning and the meeting takes way longer than you think it was going to do, and you spend the rest of the day kind of second guessing what you said and overanalyzing everything. I've had days like that, and I wanted to share with you something really important about how to flip a switch in your head to change your viewpoint of the situation. Because although there are ways to structure your conversation to make things better, the starting point is your mindset about the person. That's where you've got to start. And I first learned this from a trusted friend at work. And every leader needs someone like that, someone you can talk to about anything without fear of judgment or them tattletaling or going around spreading rumors. You just need somebody that you can offload to who understands the context of your organization. And I was talking about this one difficult person in my team and how they saw conspiracy everywhere. And every time something didn't quite go exactly 100% as they wanted it to, they thought somebody was out to get them, that they were deliberately undermining them. And then they would go on to reel off a litany of really difficult things that had happened years ago that weren't anything to do with what we were talking about today. And I was basically getting fed up of it and moaning about it to my friend. And they said to me, "It must be really exhausting to carry that weight around." And I looked at them and I asked, "Say more, what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, always thinking the world is out to get you. That must be really lonely and frightening sometimes. No wonder they get angry and stressed because they're carrying all of that with them." And in just a few sentences, my friend had kind of completely transformed how I saw this individual. I've been so focused on how hard it was for me to deal with this person, I'd lost sight of them as a person. The challenges that they were dealing with, what it must feel like to be them in their shoes. And I realised that in order for my colleague to trust me enough to let me walk them towards a different path, they had to see me, see them, and understand them a little bit. I was never going to stop them being themselves, but if they realised that I saw them as a colleague and a person rather than just a pain in my backside, I could start moving things in the right direction. And that's your starting point to dealing with the person who's always bringing you problems and taking up too much of your time. Reframe how you look at them. Put yourself in their shoes. Try to work out what they're feeling and give yourself a bit of perspective and empathy. Because leading with empathy isn't a choice. It's something you have to do to be a successful leader. And I talk about that in this video here. So you should go and watch that next. I'll see you there.